Hey, YouTubers, welcome back to the Permission Statement. I am your host, Johnny X-Ray, and I'm back on location right here. I wanted to pull up and get like a real nice view because the entrance to the Veterans Home and the Veterans Home in Yountville, all the way around, the grounds is just amazing. It's nestled right here in Yountville, California. Directly on the other side of the street is like the French Laundry, Bottega, all those wonderful places that people like to come and enjoy the valley and their wine experience. Unfortunately, this is also the location of that terrible tragedy that happened, I believe, in 2018. And 4 lives were lost, 3 lives were taken. Well, 4 lives were taken. And I want to say all of their lives were stolen because that wasn't their time. And it didn't have to happen. It shouldn't have happened. And it's a horrible outcome, everything. And I came here before. I made a video quite some time ago, closer to when it happened. And I talked to security at the front gate, and they informed me that the guy, he was there trying to get help. He was asking for help. He needed help. And I didn't want to say his name, but I did look up more about him because I didn't know too much about him. He was an Afghanistan veteran. He was an infantryman, a rifleman, 11 Bravo. And I think from what I saw, from the interviews I saw with like relatives, that he had been adopted. His father had abandoned him. So keep in mind what I talk about. I always talk about the stack. So you got the trauma on top of the trauma, or the life experience that gets stacked on top of each other. And so his stack must have started with that trauma. And people said he was a great guy, and he joined because he wanted to do something for his country. And that after deployment to Afghanistan, something really caught me and struck me. I don't know if it was his aunt or foster family, something. She had said that he would sit in front of the TV and just stare at the TV and say things like, "I can't believe I'm safe. I can't believe I'm actually safe." So he went through something. And I was actually with an Afghanistan veteran yesterday, 0311B, who was with my brother on that fateful day on February 20th, 2010, and also on August the 18th, 2009, when the Taliban first tried getting them, and they went through that hectic day of staying out in the mortar pit, lobbing out rounds at the enemy to try to help get their brothers out of the kill box. So he was there on both those days. Like I said, 0311 with the Marines, went to Iraq, went to Ramadi. 11 Bravo with the United States Army, went to Afghanistan, then eventually went back to Iraq as a contractor. So dude's been around the block a few times, and I know he's endured hardship. And so I know there's suffering and there's pain. There's things that we're not going to be able to get anywhere near understanding or try to comprehend. So, and like I said, I touched on what happened with another one of the Ramrods a little bit over a year ago, where he succumbed to his battle. Remember, we talked about that book from Captain Ney Self, The Two Wars. The wars you go fight, then the wars they come home and they're trying to reacclimate and just trying to be in the moment, etc. And so he didn't do so well. He was having hardship. Like I said, I'd love to interview his spouse here when the time comes, and she can kind of elaborate on the hurt and the hardship of seeing him go through the things that he was going through. You know, seeing insurgents and him having survived Fallujah and suffered as a result, and you know, the pain and the turmoil. Also having a stack, though, as you do more, research, or you start talking and going over things, him also had a stack, suffrage of pain that was there pre-existing before even getting to the army. And more than likely, these people that have this pain from elsewhere, they want to go help other people not suffer pain. And maybe that's a part of catharsis, at least for me. Like I said, my monster wants to hurt people that hurt people. not just hurt people. So fortunately, that's my monster I have to grapple with. But when I trip out, when I see people that have these monsters that they just have no reservations on just hurting anybody, I can't understand those people, and so this individual clearly went through some stuff in Afghanistan. He needed help. He was asking for help, and these three ladies were professionals, and they were good at what they do, and they're known and respected. It's a very, very, very close person to me who I love and respect and revere. That was a good friend of hers, and I'm sure a lot of people in Napa knew these individuals. One of them looked familiar to me. I know I'm really good with faces, so maybe I knew her as well. Maybe not from here, but from, like I said, extensive life experience through here in the valley. So, I mean, I don't want to cast aspersions on this dude's name. I mean, it just what he did was horrible. But what my focal point is, what I keep alluding to is like, gosh, things like these happens and we just forget so easily. We gloss over it. We forget that these people are often asking for help, and for whatever reason they may be turned away. The security guards told me that those young ladies didn't like him, that he had a chip on his shoulder or whatever. I don't know if that's the case. That's only secondhand information from the security at the front gate, and there's no justification for what he did. But what I'm saying is, everything I'm going through here, my ACEs score is tanked out. Tanked out. And I kept going places and asking for help. But I mean, and I'm not saying that I'm on the pathway of that man, but it's like you get pushed, and it's just like the measure of capability that some of these people carry, and they have an elevated level of responsibility to not only not flip that switch, but keep a hand on the finger that's on that switch that they've had to flip to go do these things that they were ordered to do, or they were made to do, not by their own choice. They made a choice to do something good, and then they may be catapulted into doing something that traumatizes them or hurts them for life. Or like in my circumstance, people that should have protected me didn't, and instead imposed the violence, and it catapulted my life out in a runaway into violence, and with all that stacked on top of each other, I could have very easily went off into those. But fortunately, I have enough strength. It comes at great personal, like it feels like it's killing you to hold back those monsters sometimes, when it's just like, let me handle this, I got this, and it's not a person, it's just that like, put me in the fight, coach, let me take care of this. But to hold that back sometimes, it takes a lot out of you. It takes everything to just, especially I would imagine once you get to where that dude, he's already flipped that switch. He's already flipped the switch. So from what I've been explained to by good brothers like Jeremy Williams, once that switch has been flipped, it's that much easier to flip it. So like I say, they have now an elevated responsibility to keep their finger on the switch, to protect their family, to protect themselves. Like I said, I'm a killer. I wouldn't hesitate to take human life to protect my family, my son,